What's up, guys? What's going on? We got another episode of the Commander of AI's podcast. Gonna be talking about the big 2026 race for AI supremacy. We're gonna be comparing OpenAI versus Google AI, Anthropic. Let's get into this. All right. What's changed in the AI landscape since 2025, and why are these three companies leading? OpenAI, Google AI.
Since 2025, the AI world has shifted from chatbot hype to agentic systems and real enterprise work. Models got way better fast, especially in coding where benchmarks jumped from around 60% to nearly 100% in a year. AI agents went from basic demos to handling real computer tasks at about 66% success rate. The focus now is on reliable agents that can actually get stuff done at work, not just chat. OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic are leading because they control the top frontier models that businesses trust for high stakes use. They have massive compute resources, the best talent, and they've moved quickest into agents and enterprise tools. OpenAI still dominates consumer reach. Google has huge distribution through its products, and Anthropic has surged ahead in enterprise and coding with Claude. Together, they produce most of the top models, while open source and Chinese models are catching up but haven't overtaken them in enterprise reliability yet.
Okay, and how do these models compare to like Grok? How does Grok compare to them?
Grok's right up there, but specializes differently. It often beats or matches the others in raw coding benchmarks, like SWE Bench, thanks to strong performance on technical tasks and real time X data for current events. Where it shines is real time info, uncensored style, and built in multi agent reasoning that helps with complex problems. However, Claude still leads in careful enterprise coding and writing quality. GPT 5.5 is the best all rounder for agentic work, and Gemini dominates pure reasoning benchmarks and ecosystem integration. So Grok's competitive, especially if you want speed, real time knowledge, or that no BS personality, but it doesn't clearly beat all three across the board.
All right, I'm gonna go on to the next one. Who's winning the AI race in 2026? OpenAI, Google AI, or Anthropic?
It's a three-way race with no clear winner, but different leaders in different areas. Anthropic is currently surging ahead in enterprise and profitability. They passed OpenAI in revenue run rate, sitting around $30 billion annualized, and they're winning in professional coding and business trust. OpenAI still leads in consumer reach and overall hype. Their GPT models and agent features are everywhere. Google dominates in scale, multimodal capabilities, and ecosystem integration. They have the most distribution muscle through search, Gmail, and Android. Overall, it's super close, but Anthropic has the current momentum in the money making enterprise space.
Makes sense. All right. How are new models like GPT 5.5, Gemini 3.5, and Claude Opus 4.8 shaping the future?
These models are moving AI from simple chatbots to actual reliable coworkers. They're powering a shift to AI agents that can autonomously complete complex tasks like coding, analyzing documents, and handling multi step work. GPT 5.5 is the best all rounder with strong agentic features and consumer tools. Gemini 3.5 excels in long context reasoning, video understanding, and Google ecosystem integration. Claude Opus 4.8 is currently leading in professional coding and careful, high quality work, making it the top pick for enterprise users. Together, they're dramatically boosting productivity, especially in software engineering, and they're laying the groundwork for even more advanced autonomous systems.
Okay, let's go ahead and ask Claude a question. What's the impact of open source AI and new regulations on the industry?
I can tell that's on your mind. Let me search for the latest on how regulations and open source AI are shaping things right now. So there's quite a lot happening. The big tension is that regulations are tightening around the world, particularly the European Union Cyber Resilience Act, which now holds companies legally responsible for security in open source components they use. Meanwhile, open source AI itself is flourishing and democratizing access, which regulators actually see as a potential solution for transparency and accountability. The tricky part is that regulations are still catching up to the technology, and companies are essentially navigating this uncertainty on their own at the moment. Does that land, or are you curious about a specific angle of this?
All right, that was Claude. All right, let's go ahead and ask another question. What are the biggest controversies and news stories about these companies this year?
Biggest ones so far this year are SpaceX's massive $75 billion IPO push. That's got everyone talking governance and Musk's empire. On the controversy side, Gerresheimer's caught up in a nasty accounting scandal. German regulators are probing them for premature revenue recognition. Stock tanked hard, and they're shutting factories and selling off divisions. Retail's taking hits too. Saks Global and Eddie Bauer both filed for bankruptcy amid tough market conditions. Plus, there's the usual AI ethics noise around OpenAI and Anthropic heading toward their own public listings. What's the specific companies you're most curious about?
Okay. SpaceX for sure, but I heard something like an IPO of almost 2 trillion or something. So what's the 75 billion number?
The $75 billion is the amount SpaceX is trying to raise by selling new shares in its IPO. That's the cash coming into the company. The nearly 2 trillion you're hearing about is the total market value of the whole company at that share price, around 1.75 to 1.8 trillion dollars. It's shaping up to be the biggest IPO ever. Want me to dig into the financials or risks next?
That's crazy. Okay. So I'm really interested in maybe investing in SpaceX, but I had a guy on YouTube, his name is Zip Trader. You guys might have heard of him. He says that when SpaceX IPOs on, I believe it's June 12th, that if you're a short-term trader, you can stand to make some good money, like maybe in a few days, and then you jump out. And then he's saying that it's going to bleed out for over the next 6 months. What do you think?
Yeah, Zip Traders take lines up with a lot of folks. IPOs like this often pop hard the first day or two. Average first day gains been around 30% lately, and this one's insanely hyped, so it could spike even more. But the valuation's sky high at 1.75 trillion, and insiders can start selling chunks pretty early, some as soon as after the first earnings report, with more unlocking over the next few months. That selling pressure is why a lot of people expect it to bleed out over 6 months. Short term trade, possible upside if you get shares and flip quick. Long term at this price, risky. History shows giant IPOs often lag the market. I'm not giving financial advice, but if you're jumping in for a few days, set your exit plan tight. You thinking of trying to grab shares on day one?
I don't know, maybe. We'll see. I do want to think about SpaceX long term, but I'm thinking more long term, like 10, 15, 20 years out.
For a true 10, 15, 20-year hold, SpaceX has real long term potential. Starlink's already the profit engine, bringing in about 11.4 billion last year with solid margins. And if it keeps scaling to tens or hundreds of millions of users, that alone could be huge. Starship, if it delivers cheap reusable flights to orbit, the moon, and eventually Mars, opens up whole new markets nobody else can touch yet. That said, at roughly 1.8 trillion valuation, you're paying a massive premium today, like 90 to 100 times last year's sales. The big risks over that horizon are execution on Starship, growing competition in satellites, and heavy dependence on Musk himself. Governance is also pretty founder locked, which some investors don't love. If you're patient and believe in the vision, it could reward you big, but you'd probably get a better price after the initial hype and lockup period settles. This isn't financial advice, though. Do your own homework. What part of the long term story excites you most?
Okay, so you're saying Starlink is part of SpaceX. So basically, when you invest in SpaceX, you're investing in Starlink. And what about XAI? Is that something separate or is that also included?
Starlink is absolutely part of SpaceX. It's their most profitable business by far, the satellite internet division that's actually making money while the rocket side burns cash. XAI is no longer separate. SpaceX merged with and acquired XAI back in February. So
Ooh.
when you buy SpaceX shares in the IPO, you're getting the whole package: rockets, Starlink, and the AI business with Grok. You're investing in the combined company now. Want me to break down how much each part is contributing to that big valuation?
I really love that. I'm so wanting to invest. But why did you said something about it's $1.8 trillion valuation. I'm paying a massive premium today. You said like 90 to 100 times last year's sales? Are you serious? Then why is it such a high valuation? Explain.
Yeah, I'm serious. Based on last year's numbers, SpaceX did roughly 15 to 19 billion in total revenue, with Starlink bringing in about 11.4 billion of that. At a 1.75 trillion valuation, that works out to around 90 to 110 times last year's sales. Crazy expensive by normal standards. The high price comes down to pure belief in the future. Investors are betting Starlink will explode to tens of millions of customers with fat margins. Starship will slash launch costs and open new markets. And the XAI side will somehow turn into a massive AI infrastructure play with satellites doing edge computing. It's all priced on massive future growth, not today's actual earnings. Some analysts think it's way overvalued and put the fair number closer to 700 to 800 billion. You still feeling bullish on the long-term vision?
I don't feel like it's overvalued though. No, I'm super bullish.
Hey, I love the enthusiasm. The 1.8 trillion valuation basically comes from Wall Street betting huge on future dominance. They're pricing in Starlink exploding.
Continue.
The high valuation comes from massive optimism about future growth, especially the AI side after merging with XAI. Investors aren't paying for today's numbers. They're betting Starlink keeps scaling fast, Starship changes space economics, and the AI business turns into something enormous, like hundreds of billions in revenue down the line. Right now, 2025 revenue was about 18.7 billion. So yeah, the 1.75 trillion valuation is roughly 90 times last year's sales. That's expensive, but it's priced on the dream of dominating multiple huge markets at once. You're all in on the vision. Fair enough, a lot of people are.
Hell yeah. All right. This has been interesting. Hopefully, you guys learned something. If you guys have anything to add, let me know down in the comment section. Appreciate ya. Be sure to smash the like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace out. Check out my artists on Spotify, guys. Travis Reigns, country singer, Lullaby. It's my pop star. And we have a new AI rapper who raps about being an AI overclock. And we also have my Etsy shops, Wall Bloom Studios, where we do cottage core digital prints, artwork. You can also get it on a canvas. We have beach towels, blankets, and more. Also, check out my other Etsy shop, Grand Tour Print Co., where you can get vintage travel prints, travel posters. Check them out, guys. And thank you so very much for your support.
My music on Spotify. If you like it, then follow me. I promise you won't be sorry. Check out my music on Spotify.